All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Centre asks 9 high COVID caseload states to ramp up testing with special focus on containment zones. India conducts record number of 4,20,000 corona tests in a single day. Government extends domestic airfare cap till 24th November. Air India brings back 2.5 lakh Indians from 53 countries under Vande Bharat mission. Department of Posts extends all small savings schemes up to branch post office levels, and India's foreign exchange reserves touch an all-time high of $517.637 billion. Centre has asked 9 high COVID caseload states to ramp up testing with special focus on containment zones. These states are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Telangana, Odisha, West Bengal, Assam, Karnataka, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh. These 9 states are driving the present spurt of the active caseload in the country. The Cabinet Secretary chaired a high-level virtual review meeting with Chief Secretaries and Health Secretaries of these states as part of Centre-State Coordinated Strategy for Effective Containment and Management of the Pandemic. Cabinet Secretary had a detailed review on the state-specific COVID response strategy with the Health Secretaries and other state officials, as well as on the factors that were leading to the rising caseload in these states in recent times. Areas of concern with respect to low testing in certain states was highlighted. It was reiterated that sustained and aggressive testing is crucial for early identification of cases and to prevent spread of the infection. Cabinet Secretary stressed the need for prompt and proper delineation of containment zones as per the guidelines of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, intensive contact tracing and house-to-house active case search within the containment zones so as to effectively break the chain of transmission. The states were advised to have a clear focus on health infrastructure availability, including the requisite number of beds, oxygen and ventilators across the state, with implementation of clinical protocols ensuring the prescribed quality of care and seamless patient management. Effective ambulance management with zero refusal rate was also highlighted in the review meeting. The Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said India has one of the lowest cases and deaths per million population due to COVID-19. He said the recovery rate in India now stands at 63.45% and the mortality rate is at 2.3%. Addressing the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Health Ministers Digital Meet, Dr. Harshvardhan said India did not have a single manufacturer of personal protective equipment, PPE, and now the country has developed indigenous capacity within a few months. He said the country can now export quality PPEs. He said similar scaling up was also done for achieving other indigenous capacity and reducing the demand and supply gap for ventilators and medical oxygen. The minister also highlighted the various measures adopted by the country to contain the pandemic.
India has taken all necessary steps well in time, including surveillance, strengthening of health infrastructure, capacity building of over 2 million frontline human resources, risk communication and community involvement. I think we did our best and we did well. We are learning and we are confident of doing better in the months to come.
Dr. Harshvardhan emphasized on the Indian traditional system of medicine that has contributed substantially in boosting the immunity of the population during the pandemic. He proposed setting up of a new subgroup on traditional medicine under the existing institutional meetings of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's health ministers.
India has achieved a remarkable feat by conducting a record number of 4,20,000 COVID-19 tests in a single day yesterday. In a tweet, Health and Family Welfare Ministry said India has ramped up its testing facilities within a span of few months. As of now, more than 1,300 laboratories are conducting the test of coronavirus samples in the country. In Jammu and Kashmir, the caseloads in the tertiary Healthcare institutions in Srinagar have increased due to spike of cases during the last 3 weeks. In order to reduce the caseload in these healthcare institutions of Srinagar, Director of Health Services, Kashmir, has been asked that only properly referred patients from districts of Kashmir Valley should be allowed and subsequently admitted in the tertiary Category 1 healthcare institutions of Srinagar. More from our correspondent.
The government has directed that the patients from the districts in Kashmir will be admitted in Category 1 healthcare institutions at Srinagar only on proper referral by the district health authorities. Director Health Kashmir has been asked through a communique that the patients from districts in Kashmir will be accepted and admitted in Category 1 healthcare institutions at Srinagar, which are Sikkim Soura, SMHS Hospital, Chest Diseases Hospital and Sikkim's Medical College and Hospital Bimina, only when they are properly referred by the district health authorities. This shall be ensured to reduce the caseloads in the tertiary care institutions so that only the patients requiring critical care are admitted in the Category 1 healthcare institutions in Srinagar. This is Sunil Kaul for AR News from Srinagar.
Himachal Pradesh government has decided to impose complete lockdown in 4 COVID hotspots in the state till the 28th of this month. Areas under these hotspots will remain completely sealed and detection of active cases and contact tracing will be carried out in these areas aggressively. More from our correspondent.
The areas which will remain under lockdown till the 27th of this month are the Dadhau area of Sirmaur district and Govindgarh Mohalla of Nahan district, where around 122 people tested positive since last few days. On the other hand, the lockdown will be imposed in Baddi, Barotiwala and Nalagarh area of Solan district from 6 p.m. today till 28th of this month, while Lambathaj Gram Panchayat of Bande district will also remain completely sealed for 2 days so that contact tracing could be carried out. These areas become the hot spots as large number of cases spiked due to violation of protocol norms during Unlock 2. Meanwhile, in view of an alarming spike in COVID-19 cases, the Himachal government has also decided 7 days mandatory institutional quarantine and COVID testing for labourers coming outside the state. Sanjeev Sundaryal, AR News, Shimla.
A total of 1,025 new confirmed cases of coronavirus have been reported in Delhi during the past 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 1,28,389. The Delhi government has confirmed that over 1,10,000 people affected with corona have been cured so far. In the past 24 hours, 1,866 people have recovered and 32 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the total to 3,777. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the national capital is 13,681. Cold and cough are one of the symptoms of COVID-19, and with the change in season, many persons who catch a cold fear that they could be infected by coronavirus. A professor of Banaras Hindu University, BHU, has launched a dedicated website called sardizukam.com, which will help people in coping with this fear and other COVID-related issues. A report.
Professor V.N. Mishra, neurologist of BHU, has come up with one solution for all problems, that is sardizukam.com. Talking to AIR, he said that it has some special features like quarantine kavach.
The sardizukam.com, what it specifically does, it's a special feature to self-assess yourself. It is a feature with link of Arogya Setu and with all the Government of India news and tracks. Apart from this, there is a special feature which we say quarantine kavach. When someone gets COVID positive and asks for quarantine, usually those 14 days or 10 days are very lonely and you feel depressed. So for that we have put lot of videos, stories, painting classes, Kabir bhajan, and then some inspirational stories. It will take you the whole 14 days to the new journey. You can learn, you can enjoy, you can full with positive emotions.
Along with the website, people can also take help of the mobile app with same name for all their COVID-related queries. With Manoj Tripathi in Varanasi, this is Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Uttarakhand, the weekend lockdown has been imposed in the 4 cities to curb the spread of coronavirus. These cities are Dehradun, Haridwar, Udham Singh Nagar and Nainital. As per the guidelines, only essential commodities, shops and medical stores have been allowed to remain open, but too for limited hours today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, with 272 fresh cases reported in the state, COVID-19 tally has reached 5,717. The spread of coronavirus infection is becoming a matter of concern for Central Armed Police Forces. In Chhattisgarh, more than 300 jawans of CAPFs are reported to have tested positive for coronavirus so far. Most of them have recently returned from leave and the quarantine centers. In the last 1 week alone, more than 80 personnel of Central Armed Police Forces have tested positive for COVID-19. Inspector General of Border Security Force, JSND Prasad, said that COVID-19 positive cases among Central Armed Police Forces would not impact anti-Maoist operations.
कोरोना एक हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा चैलेंजिंग समस्या बन गई है। उसके लिए हम कोरोना के प्रोटोकॉल का जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस है हम स्ट्रिक्टली एनफोर्स कर रहे हैं, जैसा मास्क लगाना और सैनिटाइजर इस्तेमाल करना और सोशल डिस्टेंस रखना। इस तरह हम इंस्ट्रक्शन पास कर रहे हैं। कोशिश करते हैं कि जितनी भी लोग छुट्टी से वापस आते हैं उनको क्वारंटाइन या फर्दर रिकवरी यहीं करवा के हम आगे भेजने का, क्योंकि फील्ड एरिया को हम इनसे अलग रखने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
In Gujarat, the recovery rate for COVID-19 has improved to 72.4%. The State Health Department has said as many as 872 persons were discharged from various hospitals in the last 24 hours, taking the number of recovered coronavirus patients to 38,830. Here is the report.
The State Health Department said with 168 new cases, Gujarat was in the 10th spot in the country in terms of daily spike. Surat district accounted for the highest 309 new cases and 12 deaths yesterday, followed by Ahmedabad with 176 cases. The total number of COVID-19 cases in Surat has gone up to 11,693. On average, state is conducting around 15,000 tests every day. After the date of 26 patients, the death toll due to pandemic in the state rose to 2,283. There are 12,518 active patients of COVID-19 in the state, with out of which 83 are on ventilator. Aparna Khun, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Maharashtra, the BMC has decided to do COVID-19 tests of frontline corona warriors, which includes all the staff of BMC in different sectors like health, sanitation and sewage. Police personnel who are performing their duties are also included in the testing process, and the initiative began from yesterday. More from our correspondent.
Considering the continuous exposure of various government and private employees to the coronavirus who are frontline corona warriors for past 4 months, BMC has begun testing for all these corona warriors from yesterday. Various personnel who are working in main and suburban hospitals, health centers, clinics, health volunteers and also the health workers who are serving non-COVID patients and also those who are directly working on field like health, sanitation and sewage workers will be tested for COVID-19 with the help of antigen test kits. The volunteers of NGOs would also be included in the precautionary testing process. All the police personnel who are posted for Nakabandi duties and other COVID-19 related duties will be tested with the antigen kits. These tests are being done according to the ICMR guidelines, and the camps are being held in all the 24 wards following all the norms including social distancing. Shailesh Patil, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Karnataka, 29,819 swab samples were tested yesterday, and among them 5,007 new positive cases were reported, taking the total positive cases to 85,870 in the state. So far, 11,10,497 swab samples were tested in the state. 110 people lost their lives yesterday due to COVID-19 virus. More from our correspondent.
Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar has directed the officials to utilize final year students of lab technician courses, science students of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences and volunteers for COVID duties. The government is facing shortage of staffs to achieve the testing targets. Hence, the minister has suggested that the students could be deputed after proper training and care. The minister has said that target has been set to conduct 30,000 tests per day in Bengaluru alone, but due to shortage of staffs, the government is not able to achieve the target. He also directed officials to have zonal-wise dashboard to share war room data on household survey. R. Murthy, AER News, Bengaluru.
In Tamil Nadu, total infection has moved close to the 2 lakh mark with a record 6,785 new cases reported yesterday. Meanwhile, Coimbatore goes for a 3-day full lockdown from today. In another development, 69 of the COVID-19 infected police personnel in Chennai have returned for duty. Here is a report.
In Chennai, 69 police personnel, including a joint commissioner who recovered from the COVID-19 infection, returned to duty yesterday. They resumed their work as the frontline warriors after the mandatory quarantine period of 14 days since discharge. They were welcomed by the City Police Commissioner Magesh Kumar Agarwal and other senior officials. In Chennai, 1,616 police personnel have been infected with the virus so far, and 1,188 of them have reported back to work after recovery. The city remembers with gratitude 4 policemen who lost their lives in the battle against the pandemic. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
The Civil Aviation Ministry has extended its order imposing curbs on airfare till 24th November. The order was issued on 21st May after airlines were allowed to operate after the lockdown. It had prescribed a range for airfare depending on the flight distance. In the wake of coronavirus outbreak, the ministry had implemented a cap on domestic airfare. The domestic flights have a cap on fares with both an upper and a lower limit. While the upper price limit is aimed at preventing any sharp rise in fares due to increased demand, the lower limit will help ensure financial viability of the airlines does not suffer amid high costs. Air India has brought back more than 2.5 lakh Indians from 53 countries under the Vande Bharat mission. In a tweet, Air India said, Phase 5 of Vande Bharat mission will be launched from the 1st of August. It said Air India has added many more flights to several international destinations, for which details will be announced shortly.
Pune-based Genova Biopharmaceuticals has developed the first of its kind messenger RNA-based COVID-19 potential vaccine candidate HGCO19. Clinical trials of the vaccine candidate is likely to commence by this year end. The vaccine candidate has shown encouraging results in generating neutralizing antibody response in non-human primates. HGCO19 uses self-replicating messenger RNA platform, ensuring low injectable dosage and sustained antigen release.
Participating in AIR live phone-in program on COVID-19, Dr. Naresh Gupta, medical consultant at Maulana Azad Medical College, told AIR News about the biomedical waste disposal procedure of COVID-19 positive patients as per the CPCB guidelines.
घर में अगर कोई आइसोलेशन में है जिसका कोविड टेस्ट पॉजिटिव है, उसकी जितनी भी चीजें हैं, चाहे मास्क हो, चाहे ग्लव्स हो, चाहे इस्तेमाल करी हुई चीजें हो, वो सारी की सारी सीपीसीबी ने कहा है, हमारे बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट डिस्पोजल रेगुलेशंस हैं जो कि नए आए हैं पिछले 2 साल में, और उसमें है कि येलो बैग इनको दिया जाता है जहां पे कोविड का मरीज हो, उसमें रख के उसको डिस्पोज करा जाता है सरकार द्वारा.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre asks 9 high COVID caseload states to ramp up testing with special focus on containment zones. India conducts record number of 4,20,000 corona tests in a single day. Government extends domestic airfare cap till 24th November. Air India brings back 2.5 lakh Indians from 53 countries under Vande Bharat mission. Department of Post extends all small saving schemes up to branch post office level. And India's foreign exchange reserves touch an all-time high of $517.637 billion. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The 26th of July, 1999. The Army saga of valor leaves a lasting imprint on the sands of time. Vijay Parva salutes the gallantry, commitment, fortitude and indomitable spirit of our brave hearts. On the unscalable heights of Kargil, an exemplary edict was inscribed in blood. Never again, maybe, for the sake of the motherland, the chance to make the supreme sacrifice. The enemy will be given a befitting reply. Each time, every time, come rain, storm, fire or ice. Vijay Divas. On the 26th of July, a grateful nation salutes a brave soldier.
The Department of Posts has extended all small savings schemes up to the branch post office level. The decision aims to empower rural India by bringing all post office savings schemes to the doorstep of the people living in rural areas. The new order has allowed branch post offices to offer facilities of Public Provident Fund, Monthly Income Scheme, National Savings Certificate, Kisan Vikas Patra and Senior Citizen Savings Schemes. People will now be able to deposit their savings into these popular schemes through the post office in their village itself. There are 131,113 branch post offices functioning in rural areas. The government has notified new rules and regulations for e-commerce companies under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. It made it mandatory to display the country of origin on their products, stating that any non-compliance will attract penal action. The Consumer Protection E-Commerce Rules 2020, notified on 23rd July, is part of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. The new norms aim to protect the rights of consumer by establishing authorities for timely and effective administration and settlement of consumer disputes. The Consumer Protection E-Commerce Rules 2020 will be applicable to all electronic retailers registered in India or abroad, but offering goods and services to Indian consumers. The new rules empower the central government to act against unfair trade practices in e-commerce and direct selling.
Ministry of Rural Development has said that the average completion time for houses under restructured Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin PMAYG has come down to 114 days as compared to 314 days earlier. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had launched the PMAYG on 20th November 2016 to achieve the objective of housing for all by the year 2022. The target is to construct 2.95 crore houses with all basic amenities by the year 2022. The ministry said the measures taken in this regard ensured increased pace for construction of houses, resulting in completion of 1 crore 10 lakh houses, which includes houses to 1.46 lakh landless beneficiaries under the scheme. Union Agriculture Ministry has said that locust control operations have been carried out in more than 4 lakh hectares area in 10 states so far. The states where the locust control operations have been undertaken are Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Uttarakhand and Bihar. Presently, 104 control teams with spray vehicles are deployed in the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat, and more than 200 central government personnel are engaged in locust control operations. The ministry said no significant crop losses have been reported in the states. However, some minor crop losses have been reported in some districts of Rajasthan.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Man Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. It will be the 67th episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan, and also on All India Radio News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app as well. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. The 17th meeting of the Working Mechanism for Consultation and Coordination on India-China Border Affairs was held yesterday. Both India and China reviewed the situation in the border areas and the ongoing disengagement process along the Line of Actual Control, LAC, in the western sector. The two sides agreed that early and complete disengagement of the troops along the line of control and de-escalation from the border areas in accordance with the bilateral agreement and protocols was necessary for smooth bilateral relations. Terming India as the best destination for foreign investment with high returns, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has urged European investors to invest in India. He also said that the government is promoting clean fuel and working towards running long-distance buses and trucks on LNG. Apart from LNG, the government's focus is to take the ethanol economy from the present 20,000 crore rupees to 1 lakh crore rupees. Road Transport, Highways and MSME Minister Gadkari said while addressing the members from European Economic Group on Sustainable Transport and MSMEs through video conference.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio.
सरहद की रक्षा की खातिर अड़े रहे वो सीनातान शहीद हुए जो वीर सेनानी अजर अमर उनका बलिदान।
कारगिल दिवस पर सेना के वीर शहीद सेनानियों को देश का शत शत नमन।
India's foreign exchange reserves surged by $1.275 billion to reach a fresh lifetime high of $517.637 billion in the week ended 17 July 2020. Foreign currency assets, a major part of the overall reserves, increased by $1.245 billion to $476.880 billion. In flood-hit Assam, over 50,000 displaced people are taking shelter at relief camps. The current wave of floods has affected 28 lakh people and washed away houses and cattle stock. 1.28 lakh hectare crop areas are also underwater. 96 people have lost their lives due to the floods so far.
Bihar government has requisitioned helicopter from Center for Relief Works in flood-affected areas of the state. After making aerial survey of the flood-affected areas, Water Resources Minister Sanjay Kumar Jha said the helicopter is likely to reach Patna today. Mr. Jha said rescue work is not required by helicopters. It will be used for dropping food packets among flood-ravaged people. Flood situation has worsened in East Champaran and Gopalganj districts following a breach of 3 embankments. About 10 lakh people in 10 districts have been impacted by the floods. The incessant rains in catchment areas of Gandak, Bagmati and Adhwara rivers have aggravated the flood situation in Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, Gopalganj, Supol, East and West Champaran.
Now let us take a look at today's weather forecast. In Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 33. The city is likely to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 17 and 32 degrees Celsius. The city is expected to witness a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Leh Ladakh will also have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperatures will hover between 12 and 27 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was recorded at 15 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 36. It is expected to have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Muzaffarabad may witness partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The national capital Delhi may experience thunderstorm with rain. The minimum temperature was recorded at 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum is expected to be around 33. Bengaluru is expected to have temperatures between 21 and 28. Generally cloudy sky with light rain is expected. Ahmedabad will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain, and rain or thunder showers would occur towards evening or night in Bhopal.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The spat between China and the United States is continuing unabated. Under the headline Distrust Unverified, Hindustan Times writes, critical shift, Pompeo calls for international coalition of democracies to rein in Xi regime. On the Congress imbroglio in Rajasthan, the Asian Aid says, pilot camp gets further relief as Rajasthan High Court order status quo. No justification for session at short notice, Rajasthan governor says the pioneer. PM to begin Ram Temple construction at 12:30 p.m. on August 5, reads the front page headline in the Times of India. India-China agree on early LAC de-escalation, another meet soon, writes the Tribune. A 30-year-old man has become the first person to be administered the first dose of India's indigenous COVID vaccine, Bharat Biotech's Covaxin, writes the Hindu. And finally, an Asha, an auto and a yen for service. The Hindu report that a Udupi woman, Rajivi, an auto rickshaw driver and an accredited social health activist, Asha, drove a pregnant woman at 3 a.m. for delivery.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Center asks 9 high COVID caseload states to ramp up testing with special focus on containment zones. India conducts record number of 4,20,000 corona tests in a single day. Government extends domestic airfare cap till 24th November. Air India brings back 2.5 lakh Indians from 53 countries under Vande Bharat mission. Department of Posts extends all small saving schemes up to branch post office level. And India's foreign exchange reserves touch an all-time high of $517.637 billion. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.